Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the first ever VIMS Virtual Marine Science Day, supported by Dominion Energy. My name is Savannah Mapes. I'm a graduate student at VIMS, and I will be your host for this session. In this session, we are happy to have the VIMS Assistant Director for Admissions and Student Affairs, John, and Graduate Student Association Co-President, Kristen, with us to discuss their career path and role at VIMS. Hi, John and Kristen.
Hello, Savannah. Thank you for having us.
Hi, Savannah.
So to kick this off, can y'all tell us a little bit about what your roles are?
Yeah. I can start it. So as Savannah said, my name is John Griffin, and I am the Assistant Director for Admissions and Student Affairs here at William & Mary School of Marine Science at the Virginia Institute of Marine Science. In my role, I oversee all of the admissions process. That's from recruiting students the previous year and over the summer, all the way through managing applications, answering questions, and then helping with the review process. And then also sending out those fun offer letters. After students get here, it's my role to then make sure that they are doing well and have all the resources and connections and everything they might need to be successful, whether that's health and wellness events for them, counseling requirements here, or professional development like resume, interview, cover letters, all of that. So pretty much all that gets wrapped up into my role, and then getting to see all of our students every day.
Thanks, John.
And I'm Kristen Sharpe. I'm a second-year master's student at the Virginia Institute of Marine Science, but I've actually been at VIMS for over 6 years now. I worked as an educator and an outreach specialist at VIMS before I started the master's program, so I am fully an awesome proponent of the VIMS community, in addition to being a graduate student who studies zooplankton, so animals that float around in the water, they can't swim against a current. I'm also the senior co-president of the VIMS graduate student community, or the GSA, and we're kind of a student-led organization on campus that works to serve as an intermediary between graduate students and their concerns and the VIMS administration and academic council. So it includes like general needs, financial concerns, safety concerns, and also academic concerns. And we provide a lot of services, including academic support and a variety of grants to support travel and research needs for students, as well as social opportunities for the entire VIMS community, including the students, staff, and faculty. And I would say that at VIMS, one of our most glorious things is our sense of community. And that's in part really strong, and we're so tight-knit because of social events, partially hosted by the GSA. So very proud of that as well.
We've got some questions about the admission process. So I'm going to ask this as a two-parter. How competitive is the admission process, and does GPA or experience have a greater influence on acceptance?
Ooh, great questions. So we're finding that our acceptance rate is about 20 to 25%. So out of all the applicants, we are accepting about 25%. On average, the class size coming in our fall classes are anywhere from 14 to 25, kind of depending on the year. So we usually keep it actually a pretty good size for schools of marine science. We're one of the biggest in the US, so we're really proud of that, and it's really fairly competitive, and all the students who come are highly talented and make me so unbelievably proud. But in terms of the application and what we're looking at, it's really a combination of both GPA and experience. But truthfully, between those two, experience is where we emphasize a lot more, especially on our Master of Science and our PhD tracks that work with faculty advisors. The faculty advisors, before they recruit and accept a student with us, they want to make sure that the student has at least the experience and skills necessary to come into the lab and be impactful and a good contributing individual to that community.
All right, and do y'all have advice for a freshman in college that wants to get a graduate degree in marine science?
Do you want to start, or do you want me to start?
How about you take it?
Okay, sure. So my undergrad degree is in environmental studies with a focus in biology. I would say that any preparation that you can do as far as taking like hard sciences literacy, math, those are all incredibly important in the STEM field. So any preparations that you can take in undergrad is very helpful. I would also highly suggest that you look into opportunities to work in labs, particularly if you're at an undergraduate institution that has a graduate program, or research initiatives or research programs. I would highly recommend looking into volunteering in labs because, as John just said, experience is huge in getting into graduate school and being successful and being a really good competitor as far as the application process goes. I would also recommend any opportunity that you have to increase your knowledge of science, particularly in things that you are more interested in. So if you have the opportunity to look into the topics that you're interested in researching in the future, that's really beneficial. So any papers that are coming out regarding that, the more knowledge that you have about that area, the more you'll be able to connect with a potential advisor and kind of hone in on a research topic for your project.
And just to piggyback on that, I would say it's very important during your time in undergrad. You can always take easy, 1 credit research courses with an advisor, or you can take extracurricular research with an advisor or a department. And by doing that, you're gaining experience in this area of interest, but also you can shadow professors and figure out if the research track is something that you are interested in. There's a lot of components that go into being a faculty member or a researcher as a profession, and becoming better aware of what all those components are will set you up for being happy in a job choice, and then also just make it so that when you are thinking about grad school, you can communicate what it is that you're passionate about and how the experiences you've had can speak to it.
Awesome, thank you. We have a question. What kind of majors are you looking for? General biology or something more specific to marine science?
All of them, pretty much. All of the ones that we're seeing are science related with a whole bunch of minors peppered throughout. So we are receiving applications from individuals with marine science majors if they're coming from schools with that. But we also are accepting students coming from landlocked institutions who have biology majors or geology majors, natural science majors, forestry majors, a bunch of different. If your major has a bunch of science components and can speak to all the credit requirements that we have and expectations to be able to achieve in our courses, that's what we're looking for. And there's no one size fits all for majors. We like all the different experience that students bring, and we're looking for those expertise and interest to better produce science on our end.
Okay. And how would one find a professor to serve as their advisor at VIMS?
Such an important step. The most important step for our Master of Science and our PhD program. What I always recommend is on our website, we have all of our departments and faculty laid out. And in their profiles, we indicate where they got their degrees and what their research are interested in, as well as they always are updating that with what their publications are, what their presentations are. And from that, you get a really detailed picture of what it is that they're interested in and what they focus on. So looking through that and making sure that if they sound cool and they sound like research opportunities that interest you and you're passionate about, then that's the faculty member to reach out to. Also on that website is their email, probably their office phone number. And I always recommend that you email them, call them, whatever you need to do to start talking to them about what they're doing, what projects they're currently working on, and the most important question, are they recruiting students for the upcoming year? Not all of our faculty are recruiting students. Possibly some of them just recruited 4 or 5 in the last admission cycle, and they don't need a student for the next 3 years. So that's an important caveat of our admissions, is that not all of our advisors recruit every year, and it's up to you and us to be publishing what opportunities are available. But it never hurts to reach out and ask if they have opportunities, what they're doing. And if they don't, that's not a closed door. They might have colleagues here at VIMS who are researching something similar or who are collaborating with them, and you can get in that way. There's always great opportunities.
How early should you contact a faculty member for advising? A few years in advance, more, less?
Kristen, how early were you talking to your advisor?
Probably, I want to say maybe like within a year in advance. So I would say like 6 to 9 months for sure. Typically, you're going to be applying to graduate schools, and I believe like January, February area. So you want to make sure that you're definitely contacting them well before that deadline, because you really want to establish a firm and open line of communication with any potential advisors before you apply, especially to a place like VIMS, because it's critically important that you have an advisor in mind that you'll be working with.
Yeah. Just a few details for that. Our admissions application opens up in August and it closes in the first Monday of January. So I always recommend that if students are interested in applying here at VIMS for any of our research tracks, then begin reaching out to faculty advisors of interest over the summer and then in the fall. But we have students who are coming in this admission cycle who only started talking to their potential faculty advisor in November. So there's not a too late for the fall, but the sooner you have it in, the better you can also make your application to speak towards your advisor's research and how you as an applicant will fit into their lab and be an impactful individual.
Awesome, thank you. I have 2 questions. We have 3.5 minutes. Let's go. So we have a question from an incoming student that's asking, what all happens during new student orientation? Will any of this change due to COVID? I'll be attending VIMS this fall. Very excited.
Woo, woo. Oh, I need to figure out who you are. I'm so excited. We are making a lot of plans. Things are still up in the air. New student orientation will be happening because we can't wait to see you all. But we might just be doing a lot of it outside and separated far apart. And then also all of the stuff that was usually like running around campus and collecting signatures or meeting some other administrators, we can set that up via Zoom instead of needing you to do that. So there's a lot of things that we had that were more fun or got you a little bit more administrative tasks that we are transitioning to online to emphasize safety and concerns there.
Okay, next question. This person read about the MA program and wants to know more about it. And how does it differ from an MS?
Yay. I'm so excited to talk about that one. So the MA program is a new one that we're getting off the ground. And it's different in that it's not as research focused as the Master of Science and the PhD. It's a Master of Arts. It's our marine science professional degree. And in its role, it's for the individuals who aren't wanting to be a faculty member and do research and publish and be going to presentations their whole life. They might be interested in being in business. They might want to be doing a little more aquaculture and the economy, or they want to be counselors or out in the community for a nonprofit. Also, we have a really strong record of policymakers. We have at least 3 graduates right now up on Capitol Hill for right out of graduating, serving at either NOAA or in senator offices, as well as other huge policymakers. So the MA program is to reduce the research flow so that we can have a lot more interdisciplinary interactions. So you can take your economy courses, you can take your policy and law courses. The William & Mary Law School has a marine science department as well, who focuses on law there, and we collaborate with William & Mary School of Education, William & Mary School of Business, a lot of collaboration to make sure that our MA program provides students with the skill to be a professional in the field, rather than just honing their ability to produce research and test hypotheses.
Great, John, thank you. This last question is for Kristen. Why did you decide to change from your job to be a graduate student?
That's a great question. I absolutely loved my job as a marine educator, and I actually anticipate potentially going back into that avenue in the future. I just love working with people and expressing my interests to others and inspiring them to care about marine science and the environment. But the reason why I chose to go back to school is because I've always wanted to do this as long as I can remember, probably like 2 or 3 years old. And so I had this great opportunity and I just couldn't let it pass. That's pretty much where I'm at. Also, I'm 28, so I wanted to finish before I was 30.
Sounds like you've had an awesome time, Kristen.
Yeah.
But that looks like that is all the time we have for now. Thank you so much, John and Kristen, for being here and helping us learn about what you do at VIMS and your careers. It has been a pleasure. For our attendees around the world, please navigate back to the agenda page to access our other virtual sessions and interviews. You can also browse the extensive collection of resources on the home screen. Thanks also to Dominion Energy for supporting this session. We hope to see all of you attendees on campus or here virtually again soon. Y'all have a wonderful day.